A queen is spawned.
Wow. 3 queens on the board right now.
Who's your daddy?
Daddy Carlsen.
Daddy Carlsen.
Yes, Magnus Fatherson is back playing Title Tuesday, the strongest online chess tournament running every single week, and he's producing not just little goats, but also immortal chess games like this. 3 queens on the board. What drama, what incredible chess to come. 33 moves of perfection. And it all started like this. His Russian Super GM opponent, Dmitry Andreikin, a powerhouse blitz player, goes for the Roy Lopez, named after J-Lo's uncle. It's a solid opening. Magnus offers the takes. In case you're not aware, doesn't win a pawn, queen pops out, wins it back. Let's stick with the game because the bishop drops off, but Andreikin's only teasing, as we're about to find out. Bishop developing, and now he takes. It's known as the delayed exchange variation. I still never worked out why, and now black saying fine, you take my juicer, I'll take your juicer. It's a big smoothie. So Andreikin defends the juicer, threatens to take this juicer, so Magnus drops back, covers his juicer, the knight develops into the game, castles, and a pony spawned on the c4 square, threatening to eat the juicer, or should we say drink, so Magnus pushes this juicer and covers that juicer. We won't say the word juice anymore, it's getting awkward. Normally you shouldn't play f6, really lifts the king's kilt, exposes it, but here it's a necessary evil to cover the centre, so knight h4 looks to expose these weakened light squares. Maybe you thrust like this one day. Magnus fights back over here, and now probably you should carry straight on with your plan, but pawn b3's played. Not ideal. There's a saying in chess, play your necessary moves first, then look about elsewhere. b3 necessary? Not really. Bit Swiss cheese on the dark squares. Sometimes you go this way, but rook e8, knight f5, Magnus backing up to do some defensive work, and this bishop now lands on e3. Begging the question, was that one really necessary? Probably not, right? This one heads back here. You can see why Magnus has been practicing in his time away from chess, in the wilderness as they joked in the studio, because he's just become a father last couple of weeks. Magnus Fatherson looking to dominate on the dark squares, but Andreikin fighting back. You could play b5, chase this guy immediately, then c5. But Magnus starts with this one. Big dark squared grip on the board. a4 looks to clamp on b5, so Magnus hops forward here. There's double pressure on the f5 square. Don't really want to be capturing. Goodness me, don't give him a connect 4. That's just overpowered. So Andreikin plays. Pawn to g4. Everyone's having a party at this point. That is aggressive, and just watch the attack he whips up against the world number 1, and also watch how Magnus calmly and coolly deals with it. First Andreikin makes a square for this knight, anticipating this, played by Magnus. We now see it drop straight back. Now pawn g6 from Magnus, and I love this. Dmitry plays the rook to the g and says, take my knight, no worries brother. Then I set up the connect 4, then I check your king, then I take here, then I mangle you with knife f5, queen streaming out, ouchie. So, of course, we didn't see takes. Magnus is too long in the tooth. He coolly sidesteps here. This rook lifts into the game, and Magnus still doesn't take. You technically could if you run it with the all-seeing monster computer analysis engine, but who wants to give white that kind of fun in blitz chess? Magnus does this instead. Multi-purpose move, defend the king, hit some nice diagonals, connects the rooks, queen f1, just creeping into the danger zone of course, but Magnus takes over here, just saying fine. Have your fun there, I'll have my fun here. He centralizes this second cannon, knight h4, bit of a sign that Andreikin's thrashing. You know, it sat there for 2-3 moves, didn't really get anywhere, backs off. Now Magnus goes for it in the centre, and it's with this explosive move. Pawn to c4. Now it looks impossible because the pawn can capture, right? Sure, you mess up the structure a bit, but it's pretty solid. Maybe you hop a knight. If c6, fine, arguably you're weakening some squares. What's the issue? Well, it's this move. Well done if you spotted the lineup of the heavy pieces. Takes, and black's doing great basically. So that's the problem with this, and if knight takes, then the knight crashes through here. This one's trying to do 2 jobs. Of course, these super grand maestros just spot the tactics like that. This now sets up a threat of taking on g6. Of course, the pawn would then be pinned, so Magnus sidesteps. We get Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one, looking kinda weird. I guess stopping knight e2. In general, if you cut the board in half here, you can really see that white wants to kill Magnus's king. But what does Magnus do? Just rocks back, takes a massive gulp from that overpowered vase of Viking water, and takes this one. He will find you. He will kill your mushroom. He will run his own.
Mushrooms.
We now see knight e to f5. I mean, look at that. Surely something calamitous is going to happen. Look what Magnus is about to do. But just before we do, if you can indulge me just 1 minute to possibly change your life, a massive thank you to the sponsor of today's video. It's bod.coach, an AI personal trainer in your pocket. Yes, someone went and did it, and it's breathtakingly good. I mean, it literally texts you every day to help keep you on track, hold you accountable, and not only will the personalized coach tailor a plan to you, but it'll learn your schedule, the equipment you've got access to, the goals you're trying to hit. But here's the absolute best part. Instead of paying those eye-watering prices like you would for a personal trainer, you pay like a 30th of the cost. Head down to the link in the description, bod.coach/epicchess. It could change your life forever. Give that one a go. Now back to the chess here. So Magnus being absolutely strangled on the king side, and he just takes here without a care in the world. Almost reminiscent of his final game against Vishy Anand. He plays here, Vishy plays here. Who's going to come out on top? Bishop h6 joining the party, but again, Magnus, undeterred, takes here. If rook takes, not played, well then there's knight takes here, and you're opening up all this pressure. Here's a sample line. Then the rook down if takes, then there's queen takes, and you're in a world of pain. You know, something like this, bishop c4. You're attacking here the white king, and you're not even material down. So we didn't see rook takes, we saw bishop takes here, logical, and again, Magnus doesn't play the obvious. The recapture doesn't touch this knight, obviously, that would be stupid. He plays pawn to d2. I mean, it really reminds me of that Pirates of the Caribbean gif. This storm just swirling around, and Magnus, undeterred, carries on his merry way. This rook now moves, and we get the moment. The queen's on the board. It was in the delivery suite. It sure enough entered the world. It's Carlsen's 3-queen blitz Immortal here. Such beautiful chess. I mean, these guys are 3,200 nearly. Serious customers just trying to kill him. What does he do? Constantly a step ahead. Takes here was now played, and you do have to be a bit careful. If you take with check and go for this kind of mate, let's say knight takes, if white captures, then you do crash through and you end up mating. But white doesn't have to capture out of nowhere, actually not out of nowhere, out of absolutely somewhere, because there's a million pieces attacking. You can land a checkmate in one. Ouchie, an uno reverso. So Magnus doesn't do that. He takes the knight. Now you could check, but it gets you nowhere. You take, and then what? Nothing. You're thrashing. Black crashes through and starts mating. So coming back, Andraken goes queen h6, threatening mate in 1. But Magnus, that step ahead, 1 minute 55 to find mate in 5. Can you find it if I give you 10,400,019 seconds? So I just had to quickly change my t-shirt. The years have passed us by, but we're still having fun. Very well done if you found the move of queen takes on e4 check. If you block with the pawn here, then there's this. This ultimately leads to a checkmate because the bishop joins the party. Really nice stuff. And if not pawn blocks, but this one, as we see in the game, that one can't go, of course. It's pinned. Well, can you find the mate in 2? It's queen takes on g1. King takes forced because the rook is pinned. And then you slam it home. I mean, how cool is that game? 33 moves, and this was the final tournament standings. Magnus just creaming the field there. What a tournament. And have a look at the video on screen in case you missed the epic Speed Chess Championship last round of 16 game that he played against Jospin. Thanks a lot and see you soon. Cheers.